The emergency session of the Galactic Council had never been called with such urgency. Representatives from 47 species materialized in their holographic forms around the crystalline amphitheater on Nexus Prime. Their various appendages, tentacles, and sensory organs all focused on the classified report that had just been transmitted. High Chancellor Vextara, a towering crystalline being whose body refracted light into prismatic patterns, activated the central display. The image that appeared sent ripples of unease through the assembled delegates. It was a human infant, barely 3 cycles old, according to the time stamp. But where human eyes should have been soft and vulnerable, there were instead orbs of molten gold with vertical slits that seemed to pierce through dimensions themselves. The pupils dilated and contracted with an intelligence that defied the child's apparent age. The child was born 6 rotations ago on the human colony world of New Terra. Chancellor Vextar's voice resonated through the chamber. Initial scans showed normal human physiology in every aspect except ... These. Counselor Zephi of the Aquatic Confederation rippled his translucent form nervously. Surely this is some genetic anomaly? Humans are known for their unpredictable mutations. That was our initial assessment, the Chancellor replied, manipulating the display to show detailed genetic scans. However, the child's neural patterns are unlike anything in our databases. The electromagnetic signatures match theoretical readings we've only seen in ancient texts. An uncomfortable silence fell over the chamber. Every species present knew those texts, the draconic codices, artifacts from a civilization that had vanished eons before most of their worlds had even developed complex life. Delegate Morthic, representing the warrior caste of the Kethmoran Empire, slammed his armored fist against his console. Impossible! The dragons were myths, stories to frighten younglings. They never truly existed. Tell that to the sensor readings, came the dry response from Dr. Yilindra, the Council's chief xenobiologist. Her insectoid form clicked as she manipulated her own data tablets. The child's cellular structure shows traces of quantum manipulation at the molecular level. Its DNA contains sequences that shouldn't exist in carbon-based life forms. And the eyes. She paused, her compound eyes reflecting the amphitheater's lights. The eyes show energy patterns consistent with dimensional sight. The implications hung heavy in the recycled atmosphere. Dragons, according to the ancient texts, possess the ability to see across multiple dimensions simultaneously, to perceive the fundamental forces that held reality together. If those legends were true, if they weren't extinct but had somehow integrated their essence into another species, the humans cannot know, whispered Counselor Lithar of the Ethereal Collective, her gaseous form shimmering with anxiety. If they discover what walks among them, if they realize the potential ... Chancellor Vextar's crystalline structure pulsed with agreement. Humanity was already considered one of the most unpredictable and potentially dangerous species in the galaxy. They had achieved faster-than-light travel in a fraction of the time it took most civilizations. Their capacity for both creation and destruction was legendary. Their soldiers were feared across star systems, not for their physical prowess, but for their absolute refusal to surrender and their uncanny ability to find solutions where none should exist. And now, it seemed they might be evolving beyond even those considerable capabilities. Motion to invoke Protocol 7, the Chancellor announced gravely. All information regarding this development is to be classified at the highest levels. No communication with human authorities. No intervention. We observe, we document, but we do not act. The vote was unanimous, though several delegates registered their concerns in the official record. What none of them could have predicted was that their secured transmission had already been intercepted. On New Terra, in a modest dwelling overlooking the colony's agricultural domes, Sarah Chin held her son close to her chest. Little Marcus gurgled contentedly, his extraordinary eyes tracking movements that no one else could see. His father, Dr. James Chun, was analyzing the alien communication they had decoded using technology that officially didn't exist. "They're scared," James murmured, reviewing the translation. 47 of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy, and they're terrified of our 3-month-old son. Sarah looked down at Marcus, who seemed to be staring directly at her despite his young age. Those golden eyes held a depth that sometimes made her wonder if an ancient soul looked back at her. "Maybe they should be," she said softly, as if in response to her words. The lights in their home flickered, and for just a moment, Sarah could have sworn she saw through her son's eyes, saw layers of reality stacked like translucent sheets, saw the quantum threads that connected all things, saw possibilities stretching out like branches in an infinite tree. The Galactic Council had ordered silence, believing they could contain this development through ignorance and inaction. They had made the same mistake that countless civilizations before them had made when dealing with humanity. They had underestimated not just human potential, but human determination to protect their own dot. In the months that followed, more children were born with those same golden vertical pupil eyes. The trait spread not through genetics, but through something far more fundamental, as if humanity itself was remembering something it had forgotten, or perhaps becoming something it was always meant to be. The Galactic Council maintained their silence, watching from afar as humanity took its next evolutionary step. They told themselves it was containment, but in truth, it was fear. And in the depths of space, on a dozen different worlds, human children with dragon eyes began to see not just what was, but what could be. The real question was no longer whether humanity would discover its new potential. The question was what they would do with it.